I got to hit one more topic today. I know I'm about out of time. In fact, it's a really, really, really important topic. My last one for the day. And that has to do with this whole idea of Trump and the women's vote. You know, I'm writing something. It wasn't quite ready before I left home today. I'll finish writing it tonight. It'll be up on our website. But in many election cycles, the way leftists think, the way Democrats, the anti-American, socialist, Marxist, communist, American left thinks about America is America's comprised of a bunch of hyphenated people. The left's political messaging, their campaign thinking, everything is about stick people into these categories and tell them, you live in this silo, African American, you live in this silo, Asian American, you live in this silo, and you women live in your own silo. And you can have more than one silo. You could be a woman and you could be an Asian woman or an African American woman. But the point is, the left messages and makes policies based on the silos they create. They make policy messaging based on the silos they create. The point of creating silos is then to build messaging to convey to each of the members of each of those groups that you are a victim, that everybody else in America isn't standing up for you, that life is unfair, America's unfair, your life isn't fair, and it's everybody else's fault, and everybody else around you can't be trusted to be fair, so you need the Democrat Party to come up with a new policy, a new regulation, a new tax, something to protect you. That's usually how the left messages, and it still is how they message now. But I was thinking today about what they've done this election cycle. Fortunately and brilliantly in this election cycle, we've had the organization Blexit come to be prominently known. Black and Latina exit from the Democrat Party. Founded by Candace Owens, just a brilliant young woman, very beautiful young black woman who actually kind of grew up thinking Democrats were, she was fine with the Democrat Party, and I can't tell her life story again. She's been brilliant. She founded Blexit, and her basic message in Blexit is the idea that she is telling her fellow black Americans, name something the Democrat Party has ever done for you. What policy, besides telling you they care, and telling you that everybody else hates you, and telling you the Republicans pick on you, what have the Democrats ever done? Because none of the Democrat parties have ever helped the African American community. And in fact, they've done just the opposite. You had the creation of the welfare state back in the, this great society reset. We're going to fix everything for America. And all it did was destroy the black family, increase the number of young people growing up in African American families with no father around, which statistically tells you they're headed for a whole world of hurt. She points all of this out. We've had another movement called Georgatos, which is young Jewish Americans exiting the Democrat Party. They haven't been quite as active, but they've been trying to get the message out. Why do Americans who are of Jewish heritage vote for the Democrat Party when the Democrat Party never stands up for Israel, never does anything to protect, the Democrat Party never wants to be the one protecting Israel against the enemies by which it is surrounded in the Middle East. It took Republican Donald Trump to come along to help Israel, number one, by supporting and moving the embassy, but number two, by creating these peace deals between Israel. Not that Trump alone created them, but his impetus, his mission, his thinking said, forget about trying to make peace with the Palestinians. They don't want peace. Move forward. Israel making peace deals with UAE, with Bahrain, and there are other ones impending now. This is a president actually solving things. And this is one of the messages of this Georgatos group, which says there should be a Jewish exit from the Democrat Party. Another group is Walk Away. Walk Away is a fabulous thing. In fact, if you're on Facebook and you just want to have a warm and fuzzy time on Facebook, go to the group Walk Away. It's a Facebook group. The stories you read there of people of every age, ethnicity, national origin, all of them find us saying, wow, I'm so grateful to find a place where I can tell you why I want to walk away from the Democrat Party, why I have walked away from the Democrat Party, how I finally started reading and thinking for myself instead of just being told because of your race, ethnicity, national origin, skin color, whatever it is, that you have to be a Democrat. That walk away page is heartwarming. It's full of thinkers. it was founded, Walkaway was kind of connected originally with Blexit, but now Walkaway has its own identity. Brandon Straka, who is a young gay guy who just said basically the LGBT community in America is told over and over and over, you gotta vote Democrat. Democrats are the only ones who protect us. Republicans hate us. And he said, you know what, actually, the Democrat policies aren't doing one darn thing for me. He, Brandon Straka, got the Walkaway movement going. They've been having events around the country. And the Walkaway page on Facebook is not just LGBTQ Americans. It is all sorts of people. It's older Americans who never voted their whole life, but they're watching the Democrat Party destroy America's cities with riots and protests and arson and murder. And they're saying, where's the Democrat Party standing up for the people? They're nowhere to be found. They're nowhere to be found. And these stories, they're heartwarming. But what I want to get to in wrapping up is about women and women in this election cycle. I was trying to think about what is it the Democrats are doing to manipulate the women's vote in this election cycle? And I finally realized what it is. The Democrat Party is, in this election cycle, 2020, working women up into a hysterical, unthinking tizzy about using the lies about COVID and using their attacks on Donald Trump's personality. What you have is the left complaining, Trump is so rude, he's so brash, he's so this, whatever the word they would use. They try to get women worked up about Trump's personality, manner of speaking. You know, he's a New York City guy. Yeah, he talks like one. He's brash, he's outspoken. And they try to turn their opposition to that kind of personality or their characterization of that personality into a reason that unthinking women should go ahead and vote for somebody else and ignore the reality that Trump's policies have raised all Americans up. Trump's policies, economic policies, better jobs for women, lower unemployment numbers for women, better numbers for every group women say they care about in terms of employment, stronger national defense, better trade deals, so we have fairer trade with the world. We have a president whose policies have lifted every American up. And since the left can't fight about his policies because they're right, because Trump's policies are right, the left tries to manipulate women by getting them all in a tizzy, all in a huff about his personality. He's so, I don't like the way he talks. He shouldn't talk that way. I don't like his tweets. And they're being lured, women are being lured into the, being the tender, powder puff kind of girl, too easily put off by, I don't like President Trump because, sometimes he says things in tweets I don't like. And I heard he said a bad thing years ago about women. And so that's it, I can't vote for him. That is what the left has to convince women this time not to vote for Trump. And the COVID thing, I will say also, the left has used effectively with women. There are, all the polling is showing, there are more women afraid of COVID than men, more men figuring out facts as opposed to hysteria about COVID, men actually reading the data and realizing there are very effective therapies that are completely working on COVID patients, and yet we're being asked to be worked into a tizzy, and men are more waking up, conservatives are more waking up, Christians are waking up more, people of faith are waking up more. People of faith, Christians, serious conservatives, actual thinkers are waking up and recognizing we've been played in terms of the exaggerated political policy response to COVID. America has been unnecessarily shut down. The left has used COVID in this election cycle to talk to women and treat them as though because they're women, they will easily fall for the argument that government's supposed to take care of you just like your daddy. And government's supposed to take care of you, ladies, so you should be mad because President Trump, he should have done something different in whenever they say January, February, March. They're talking to women like they're easily emotionally manipulated, can get worked into a frenzy over COVID, even though obviously COVID is serious. I don't wish it on anybody. I want us to have I want everyone to have access to treatment that they need. But the political response has been hysteria generated by the left, and it seems to be working with women. But back to the main point about what the left has done to women in this election cycle is made them feel like, I don't want to vote for Trump because he's not as nice as my husband. He's not, he's a little gruff. He's not the kind of guy. I want someone who has a really, really nice personality. And so you're being told, women, that you should vote against Trump, whose policies have lifted up every American, including your family, including your children. Oh, the whole other thing we didn't even talk about Trump has accomplished is because he is bringing more of American troops home, not getting America involved in some international entanglement, putting at risk and putting into harm's way precious young American members of the military. He is honoring their sacrifices. He is protecting them. Unlike the previous administrations, this is another thing for which women should be grateful. But women are being told, don't look at Trump's accomplishments. Don't recognize everything he's done for world peace. Don't recognize how he strengthened the economy. Don't recognize how he strengthened the border. Don't recognize how he's fixed the trade deals. Don't pay attention to all those facts over there. Get worked into an emotional tizzy because I don't like his personality. That's the Democrats' message to women. And honestly, if you fall for that, that's pretty darn embarrassing for women. We Americans have been blessed by this president in this last nearly 4 years. We all need to get behind voting for him tomorrow. If you haven't voted yet, if you're one of the small section or a fragment of Americans who have not voted, got to get it done tomorrow. But as I'll wrap up the way I started out this show today. I'll finish on the women thing. Women, look at facts and not the emotional tizzy the left is trying to stir you up into. You're smarter than that. Do not get duped by that emotional hysteria. Look at the facts. And tomorrow, everyone listening and everyone who sees this, anytime before the polls close tomorrow, if you haven't voted yet, get out there and vote for Donald Trump.